As a real-life reporter, every morning I get an update from Google on almost every reported police killing in the country. Most of the time, news reporters simply report what's on the police report because if they weren't there, then how would they know what happened? And most of the time, it's months later when the police departments release the actual body camera footage, if they release it at all, or the dash cam footage of the incidents. And by then, the hullabaloo over the police killing usually has died down. But what's astonishing is how often the police reports differ from what actually happened on camera. Take 19-year-old Devon Bailey, for instance. Here's how the reporters describe the shooting on the night of the incident. Now, I've seen the police report, so I want to explain that this reporter is reading directly from the statement by the Colorado Springs Sheriff's Office.
The Sheriff's Office confirms tonight it's 19-year-old Devon Malik Bailey. They say Springs police responded to a personal robbery call on Saturday. The victim identified two suspects. Officers contacted the suspects, including Bailey, who they say reached for a firearm during that encounter. At least one officer, they say, fired a shot hitting Bailey, who later died at the hospital.
A few weeks later, the Sheriff's Office released the body cam footage, which showed this.
Newly released body cam video from Colorado Springs. A 19-year-old shot and killed by police. At one point, the video shows his hands in the air, running away.
Hey guys, can I talk to you a sec?
Tonight, this newly released body camera video sparking new questions about the final moments of 19-year-old Devon Bailey, who died while trying to flee police. Colorado Springs police responding to a reported armed robbery.
So we got a report of two people, similar descriptions, possibly having a gun, all right? So don't reach for your waist. We're going to just check and make sure that you don't have a weapon, all right?
As a third officer approaches Bailey from behind, he turns and runs away.
Hands up! Hands up! Hands up!
Or, take the case of the NBA player Sterling Brown. Police officers said that he physically resisted officers, and you know what? I'll just let the reporters read from the police report again.
The officer writes in his report that a man, later identified as Bucks rookie Sterling Brown, came out of the store and stood, quote, within arm's reach of the officer. The officer says he asked Brown to, quote, repeatedly step back, which he refused. He said Brown, quote, became very aggressive, and so the officer called for backup. When another officer arrived, they attempted to interview Brown. The officer says that's when, quote, Brown physically resisted officers' attempts to handcuff him, and he was taken to the ground in a controlled manner.
That happened in January. 5 months later, police finally released the body cam footage.
You don't see the issue here. You're not parked across 3 lanes.
The officer then calls for backup.
Can't get another squad here.
According to the police report, the officer asks Brown repeatedly to step back, but Brown refuses, becoming, quote, very aggressive.
What's your name? It's on there.
But in the body cam video, Brown appears calm.
These are simple questions, man.
No, I'm answering.
These are simple questions, and you're being all bad asking me, all right? These are legitimate questions, right?
I ain't got no problem with it.
Okay, well.
Then several law enforcement officers arrive on the scene.
I just wanted one.
Appearing to surprise even the initial officer.
All I wanted was one X-ray.
Meanwhile, Brown is questioned by 2 other officers, the situation seemingly under control. But just a few minutes later, more officers are seen surrounding him, and then
I got stuff in my hand.
In that police report, the officer writes that Brown, quote, physically resisted officers' attempts to handcuff him, and he was taken to the ground in a controlled manner. But the video appears to tell a very different story. Just seconds after asking Brown to take his hands out of his pockets, officers tackle him to the ground.
You've seen the video of the takedown. But you haven't seen this. Watch closely as officers ask Brown if he has a gun.
Can you give me a gun? No. No? Okay, can you just keep your hands out of your pockets? Keep your hands out of your pockets, all right? Ain't nothing in my pocket. Take your hands out of your pockets now!
One of those officers draws his firearm. Here it is again from a different body cam. Moments later, the officer reholsters.
Sterling Brown could have been dead.
And while you may think that I'm cherry-picking incidents, I'm not. Guys, one of the most undertold stories in criminal justice is how police get to lie on police reports every single time. When 16-year-old Laquan McDonald was shot in Chicago, it took 6 years for independent investigators to discover a cover-up that involved 16 officers who all somehow told the same lie on their police reports. And in New York, a pair of police partners have been caught on camera multiple times planting drugs in black men's cars. And when a judge compared the body camera footage to the police report, he threw out the charges. But 97% of all cases end in plea bargains. So, the Baltimore cops who were caught on camera twice fabricating evidence, nothing happened to them. The cop gang that revealed that they kept toy guns just in case they needed to plant them on someone after they shot them, oh, okay, some of them went to jail, but the point is that you should never believe any story about a cop shooting a person who pointed a gun at them, because the reporter probably just read the police report, and the police always lie on police reports. Always. I think Belcaris explained my position the best.
You guys be lying, and I don't fuck with y'all.
Received in our news.